Oilersnation Everyday with your hosts, Tyler and Liam.
Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl potentially going head-to-head at the Olympics. Feels a lot like if your parents got divorced, but you still get only one Christmas. Let's get into it with the lead. Don't think about that too much. It stops making sense very quickly. The analogy does not work. Welcome into the show. We're live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online at sportscloset.ca. All your red, white, and black gear available now. 3 locations in the Edmonton area. We are also a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You know what's coming up today on the show, Liam? I waited. I saved this guest specifically for when we were back in studio and back together.
We look to continue our completion of the 2010 Olympic gold medal team for Canada at the curling Olympics.
The curling team. 2010 Vancouver men's curling team that won gold. Today, John Morris will join the show.
The legend.
3 of the 4 curlers on that team have now as soon as John's here, we don't want to jinx it. He is on call, he said, so there's a chance he gets called out.
Damn it.
But we're like 99.9% sure that there won't be a fire he needs to respond to in the next hour, and he will join us at 12:30.
I think the weather might put the fires on its own today. I don't know. I'm not a fireman.
Nope. Never been mistaken for one either. I don't know why I said that. That doesn't even make sense.
But I suspect that the weather would be an assist today. Did you ever hear about the fire at the, what was that golf course called? Northern Bear.
Yes.
Did you ever hear what happened inside?
Didn't like all the water flood down and then freeze over all the golf carts?
Freeze into this huge ice block.
Yeah.
Because it was minus 50.
Yeah.
So
fires can still happen, Liam. That's it. You know what? Fire safety 101.
Yeah.
Just because it's cold doesn't mean there can't be fire.
Yeah, it doesn't mean there can't be fire. So yeah, if you didn't know that story, Northern, I think this is probably 2 summers ago now. Oh no, it would have been the winter, of course. Not this past winter, the one before. The clubhouse set on fire. Beautiful clubhouse. Have you golfed there?
I have golfed there.
It was an amazing clubhouse, great course. And set on fire. And they had a burst pipe and all their golf carts were in the basement. And it flooded and just froze.
Yeah.
Damn. Crazy stuff.
Like the movie Ice Age.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar. Then all of a sudden, a mammoth, a saber-tooth, and a sloth just became best friends. It was wild.
Couldn't believe it.
I don't know.
The 4th who we are missing from that team is Benny Hebes. Benny Hebert.
Yeah. But we could probably get him.
Yeah, him and I follow each other on Instagram. He is a message away at any time. Also, we have the phone numbers of the other 3. I'm sure one of them, if I texted them and said, hey, can you send me Ben's number, would
also,
oblige.
too, Kevin Martin, who is obviously the skipper of that team, part of our network now.
He is Inside Curling.
Yeah, if you want to listen to that. His curling, I saw someone tweet the other day, it was like, what has happened to my sport that I watch every 4 years? If you want to start watching more regularly, listen to Inside Curling. He has also on YouTube, I believe.
It is, yes. Shout out to Kevin Martin. Kmart, because he's on the show and we're friends with him.
Yeah.
Can we call them all by their nicknames?
Benny Hebes.
Benny Hebes. I did just kind of call him that.
What are we calling Kennedy?
Lefty? His name on Twitter.
Other people are calling him other things. I strongly disagree.
And this interview today is to let our friend Mark Kennedy, who was nice enough to come on our show before the Olympics, this interview is to let him know that he's got shooters out there.
Yeah, we stand with Mark.
We stand with Mark. And
also, fuck the Swedes.
Well, the Swedish media.
Screw IKEA.
Oh.
I'm out. Meatballs, Italians way better.
They are.
No, not on my turf. And all these European, God. Ridiculous. It's ironic because they think that cheating by this double touch is taking away the integrity of the game. I say all you people who are complaining about it is the opposite way around. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
All right. We will talk curling at 12:30. Until then, we'll park the curling talk for a little bit.
For now.
We will begin with Germany's massive victory over France.
Woo!
5-1. 5-1 the final. Leon Draisaitl powering the Germans to a victory. They are off to the semifinals now, Liam. So a big, obviously predictable win for Germany. They not
quarterfinals.
Oh, sorry, they're off to the quarterfinals. Yes, but there is a path. I was getting ahead of myself to Canada and Germany meeting each other in the semifinals.
So who did Germany play now? Is it Finland?
Slovakia.
Damn.
That is a winnable hockey game for
that
Leon,
is.
Josh Samanski, and our German friends.
Yeah, interesting. I saw actually a lot of Oilersnation Germany have gone to games, which is cool.
So Germany's going to get to play Slovakia. It's important to remember it's a straight bracket for the first round. Mm-hmm. So Canada got the winner of Czechia, Denmark. We know it's Czechia. They held on. They win 3-2. Finland got the winner of Switzerland, Italy. Finland, Switzerland is a quarterfinal. Germany wins. They are now taking on Slovakia. USA is going to get the winner of Sweden and Latvia. We kind of assume it's going to be Sweden. I think it's probably pretty safe to assume it's going to be Sweden. So Canada as the 1 seed, if they win, will face the lowest remaining seed in the semifinals. So they do reseed coming out of the quarters. If Sweden beats USA, that is locked in. Canada would play Sweden in the semis. There is no other outcome that could possibly happen. If Canada wins and Sweden wins, it is Canada-Sweden in the semis.
Yeah.
If USA wins, that's where some other possibilities get thrown in here. So let's say Canada wins. Let's say USA wins tomorrow. Canada could get Germany if Germany wins. Or if Slovakia beats Germany, Canada would get the winner of Finland, Switzerland. Did I explain that in a pretty straightforward way?
Yes, I'm glad they reseed it too, actually. I think that makes it better. Because Canada is like, if you're the first seed, the second seed, whatever, you do deserve the advantage to go through. With something a little bit easier for you, I think.
Again.
But also, these final teams none of them are really easy anymore.
I mean, Canada handled Czechia with relative ease in the first game of the tournament.
That Czechia team has been very underwhelming. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I meant once you get to the semifinal.
Yeah, once you get, but I mean, okay, well, let's walk through this. If you're Canada and you win, and then you get, let's say it is Germany in the semis.
Yep.
Canada's gonna steamroll Germany.
Oh, they will. But the Germans have, like, their power play is could be lethal. There's a lot of potential, right? They got players.
And they got some star-level players, and so does Czechia, but I do view, like, Germany and Czechia as being kind of on the same level. Czechia maybe a bit more NHL depth, but in terms of the high-end talent on either team, like, Mo Seider versus Filip Hronek on the blue line. Obviously, Seider's better, but like they still have a Filip Hronek and a Radko Gudas on their blue line. They have a bit more depth. You look up front and like they don't have a player like Leon Draisaitl, but what they do have is Natchez and Hurdle and Pasternak obviously is great, but like you can go a few more deep on that Czechia team. But anyways, my point is
that is an interesting side by side actually.
It really close, yeah.
I think Germany might have the edge.
I just think depth.
Goalie might be better. Thank you, sir.
Oh, Liam got his coffee delivered to him. Dostal versus Grubauer, pretty close.
I think, isn't Grubauer number 1 in goals saved above expected this year? Which is crazy. Again, goalie's voodoo.
Also, it's been interesting to see Czechia go with a more balanced approach, too. They aren't just playing their 3 big guns all on one line anymore. Yeah. Like, they have Hurdle and Palat playing on their third line. Andre Kasha, another guy with NHL experience. You look at Germany, and I do just think it gets a little bit thinner, a little bit quicker.
Quicker, for sure.
Like Draisaitl, Reichel, Stützle, Samanski, Peterka, that's a great line. And then you get to Cahoon, and then you're kind of just, again, a bunch of guys who don't play in the NHL. So, anyways, it is an interesting comparison. I just think it's very, very... It's quite honestly fascinating that Canada could potentially make it to the gold medal game by beating Czechia, Switzerland, France, Czechia, Germany. They could potentially avoid Sweden, Finland, USA, all of them through this tournament until the gold medal game. And I guess this is a question I threw it to Gregor yesterday. I've thrown it to Hutz and Merrick. Is there danger in that if you're Team Canada?
No, because I think they haven't taken anybody lightly. They've just gone into the games and absolutely annihilated their opponents. Like, you really think back to it. Like, I think there was moments in the Swiss game and the Czech game where it was like, those teams had a bit of pushback, but it was when their NHL players were on the ice. Obviously, France, there was no competition, really. Ironically, the only team to score 2 goals against them, though. Yeah. Canada obviously won 10-2. I don't mind it. I think at the end of the day, it's what... Going into the tournament, we all thought Czechia and Switzerland were going to put a bit of more of a push on Canada. And then you just got this absolute dominance from Connor McDavid. Like, the fact he has now the record for the most points in the Olympics by Canadian.
Crazy.
Seems ridiculous.
On the men's side.
On the men's side, yes, of course. But then beforehand, we were talking about the US groups where we were like, well, they'll walk over Latvia, they'll walk over Denmark and Germany. And they had they don't look convincing at all. I think the way I'm going to look at it is more of an optimistic side. It's like Canada has given me no reason to doubt them. Whether US, I think, have given me reasons to doubt them. Same with Sweden, Finland, Slovakia, everyone else.
I think that is a totally fair take. Another thing I'd add to sort of dismiss the notion that this is an easy path and no adversity could be a problem. Maybe this is part of the reason why Canada brought the same group back.
Maybe.
These guys all have the shared experience of 12 months ago, losing to USA in the round robin, trailing in that gold medal game and coming back to win. Like, this is a group that isn't developing chemistry really anymore, especially when you consider how seamlessly Celebrini and Wilson have both slid into this lineup. Mm-hmm. This is not a team that's sitting there still going like, ooh, who's playing with Connor and everyone knows everyone's role. Everyone's had, for the most part at least, everyone's had sort of the shared experience of last February in Montreal and Boston. I think that does actually mean something.
I would agree. And I think now we've been able to kind of take a step back and just get into the tournament and not worry about the roster selection. That becomes a bit more clear. It's fair. I think obviously there's been some players who I still don't think should have been there. And I know people won't want to talk about that, but I just think like Drew Doughty's struggled big time. Like I just think someone with maybe if Josh Morrissey was playing, he wouldn't be playing. Obviously, they've taken Brad Marchand out of the team essentially for more speed and Seth Jarvis. So, yeah, I think Canada's going to be fine, and I think the experience of the four nations benefited them great. They faced adversity in that series. Like in the four nations, right? Yeah. Like, and it wasn't easy for them either. Like they went to overtime against Sweden after lead in the Finland game. I don't really remember, but I know they won. And then
I forgot it went to OT against Sweden.
Yeah, in the first game they would have won. They went in 2-0. They got the power play goal really early in that game, and we were like, holy moly! And then the power play was kind of average and maybe worse for the rest of the way. So, yeah, I'm not worried about Canada. I think they're pretty dialed in right now.
Yeah, I agree. Again. This team, and that's kind of the other funny thing is like I look back at past Olympics with NHL participation. 2014, they sputtered, right? They as much as they ended up dominating late in that tournament, they got pushed to overtime against Finland, and they only beat Norway, I think 3-1. Like they could not score. Back in 2010, they went 1-1-1. They lost games. 2010 they went 1-1-1 in Vancouver. 2014 they went undefeated, but there was a couple close games.
Right.
You can spin it either way. If they would have, beaten Czechia 4-3, and then if they would have only won, let's call it 4-2 against Switzerland, or even got brought to overtime for one of them, we'd be sitting here being like, I don't think we'd be sitting here being like, nice, they went through some adversity. We'd be criticizing them pretty heavily. So the fact that they've been dominant, I think they do deserve their flowers for that.
Yeah, let the good times roll, I say. Can I bring up the conversation we had before the show? Canada versus Europe. I think we'll do this more tomorrow because I need to do some more experimentation.
Well, the way you're phrasing it is almost Canada versus the world.
Yeah, in a way, but not U.S. or Kazakhstan because obviously Kazakhstan being an Asian country, U.S. being North American. But who would win? This Canadian Olympic roster, let's say it's this one. Maybe you can make one or two changes, whatever you want. Or a European team.
And all
including the Russians, Belarusians, whoever you want to include. Just the best hockey players in the world.
We're going to actually give the lineups tomorrow and do a little head-to-head.
Yeah.
And then reveal our Alberta separatist roster for the 20... No, we're not doing that.
We're close on that one, though. Look for a couple more forwards.
Yeah, we did do the exercise here at the office. Purely tongue-in-cheek, though, obviously. I mean, we're not
It's not idiots. A bad team. Unfortunately, Bobby McMahon might be our second-line center, which I don't love. But we're using the power of conversation to... pull our way through. But what was the top line? Hagel, Point, and Gunther, I think it was?
I think so, yeah.
Blue line looks pretty good. Pretty good blue line.
Cheeks Clappinen said, 13 minutes in and Tyler finally started his sentence with again. Is that a record? Do I do that a lot?
Again, I've never noticed.
Thank you. That's the kind of support I look for from you, Liam. Some roster updates from Canada. Brad Marchand will play in the quarterfinals, according to head coach John Cooper. Ooh. So he is in. It was a maintenance day today for both Nate McKinnon and Sam Bennett. I think the play here is that Sam Bennett's going to come out for Brad Marchand if he's not at 100%. And obviously Nate McKinnon will just slide back into the lineup. The lines were a little jumbled here, which I found interesting. Obviously that top line stays together. Obviously that third line's going to stay together. Everything else, I don't know, maybe Suzuki's coming out and he was in McKinnon's spot and Bennett will play because Suzuki struggled a little bit in this tournament, particularly when they've tried to play him on the wing. He hasn't been as good.
Yeah.
So my guess is one of Suzuki or Bennett are coming out for Marchand.
Would make sense. Yeah. Unlike, because I don't see Seth Jarvis coming out. Wouldn't think.
Suzuki's been a valuable PKer.
Yeah, maybe
that makes me think he's not coming.
You got to think too. They do play 13 forwards. Yeah. So yeah, I mean McKinnon's obviously playing in this game. It's just a matter of where you put him. I did like that him and McDavid played some shifts together against Switzerland too. That was exciting.
Yeah, I mean they basically played the back half of the game together, and I'm very curious. I know this was obviously a conversation today with Leon playing 24 minutes in Germany's win, and some people were criticizing that, but it's like Leon does that all the time. I am so curious as we, maybe not quarterfinals, although if the game's close, it'll apply. Maybe even not potentially semis, so maybe. But like when it's gold medal time, how often will Cooper go back to McDavid, McKinnon, and Celebrini? And is there a chance they just play the whole game together and they just play them 28 minutes?
I actually think it'll be an underwhelming gold medal game, similar to 2014. Well, like Canada just went in and walked all over them, so they might not have to do that.
Maybe.
I just think this team's, they're unbelievable. And I just think they don't really care who they're going to play. And I could see it getting to that point, and like you're fortunate enough where you have McDavid, McKinnon, and Crosby down the middle of your lineup, and you can kind of rotate things through there. I just don't know if it'll get to that point where it's like, we got to push McDavid a little bit more here.
I also, again, this circles back into like an Oilers conversation of, I think it's very funny when people criticize the Oilers for always going to Connor and Leon together. And I think every single coach, if they had that luxury and they were in the spot where Chris Knobloch or whoever the previous coaches have been, where it's like you're down by a goal halfway through a game, what are you going to do? Put the two best players on the ice who have a chance of getting you that goal. I think we'll see that a little bit here with John Cooper, where like even if it's a close game with Czechia, I bet you halfway through the second, if it's a one-goal game either way or it's tied, we see that trio go together and we do not see them split up at any point. And I just think it's one of those things. Again, they criticize the Oilers. I think every coach is wired in a very similar way of like, oh, I need a goal. I'm coaching for right now. Like, I want that goal on the next shift. I'm putting my big guns out there.
Yeah, I can see it being that way for sure. Barbershop Window said it's gold medal. It won't be easy. It won't be as easy as 2014. Why not?
The one reason I'll disagree with you is because it was easy, or part of the reason it appeared easier in 2014 is because you had Carey Price with a .970 save percentage.
Yep.
And that team was elite defensively, and that's why they made it look easy, because they were smothering. Also, they got a couple of breaks. Nicholas Backstrom was probably Sweden's best player at those Olympics.
Didn't play.
And he got suspended for the final because he like took a weird type of Advil that showed up on a drug test or something crazy like that. It was like the dumbest thing ever. But they caught some breaks. It was dominant, but dominant on the defensive side. And I don't think this Canadian team is not nearly as dominant on the defensive side as that one in 2014. Like, think of some of those names they would have had on that blue line, right?
Yeah, but the other side of it, too, is do you think those forward groups have dialed it in on that side of things? Like, some of those goals they've allowed, like the one against Switzerland was, what, like a tip or whatever it was, a fumble, whatever you want to call it. And then the ones against France have rebounded and I missed the second one. Was a shot from the point, went right through or something like that, right? I don't know. They're not allowing many chances either. I think they can. I think they can walk through it. Maybe I'm being a bit too optimistic, but also too, what have they done to prove me wrong so far?
So far, they have thoroughly dominated. Like every game's kind of been the same, where you come out of the first period being like, that was weirdly close, but they're winning, so I'm not upset.
Yep.
And then in the second period, they put the pedal to the floor, and the third period is basically just a non-story because it's already at hand. Yeah.
Yeah. They won the semifinal that year, 1-0 too.
Oh, yeah.
Because the US outshot them 37-31. Then they beat Latvia in the quarters, 2-1.
Close games.
Latvia was the only team to score a goal against Canada in the elimination games.
That goal Logan Thompson gave up in Canada's second game was the first best-on-best NHLer like goal they'd given up in like 260 minutes. It's crazy.
So they obviously didn't, and I know why, but I was a little bit surprised, like a small part of me, that wasn't goalie interference. In this, just with the way the IHF rules are, and I know there's more NHL rules in it now, but like the puck was in the crease, and there was definitely contact on the goalie. was his, I don't know. We saw the one against the US and Latvia, I think it was, that was called off. I was a little bit surprised they didn't think about it a bit longer.
Aaron Davies says, do we forget the Four Nations thing already? Lost to the US, then won in OT. Could have very easily lost that game. Totally. Again, I get what you're saying, man.
Didn't lose that game. That's the one side of it,
sure.
which I never like about these hypotheticals. They did not lose that game.
There is, and especially when it comes to the goaltending, like Binnington made the big saves when he had to, and people almost like to frame that as a what if, and I know I've done it a little bit on the show.
But he did.
But he did.
Yeah.
And like they did win, and they do look like the better team right now. And the USA had a very, very easy path through the preliminary round.
What looked to be easier path. They were down against Denmark. Yeah.
And Swayman gave up a brutal goal from center ice. Yeah.
I know, and I saw people like, well, he slightly deflected. It's like, still from center ice. Like, come on. Someone asked, is Morrissey good for the game? I don't think he'll play, right?
Ryan Rishaug reporting that he skated at practice.
Oh, he did skate.
On a pair with Colton Parayko and was, quote, buzzing around out there.
Damn, on business.
Looks good to go, according to Ryan Rishaug. Yeah, on business.
There you go, Nolan. He's playing.
Who do you take out?
Who would I take out, or who do I think I'll take out? I think Drew Doughty should be out of this team.
I agree.
I think it'll be Travis Sanheim. I mean,
Me too.
That's just what they'll do.
Although Sanheim, I think, led that blue line in minutes last game.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
I think I like Sanheim as a player. I just think that's what they'll go with. But saying that, I've been surprised that Brad Marchand hasn't played as many games as he only played one. I do think Cooper would take out Doughty.
I don't think he would.
I think he would, but I don't think he will. I think if it was a longer tournament, then maybe, but I just don't see it. So I think he'll just go with easy call and take out Sanheim.
Yeah, I agree with you. It'll probably just end up being Sanheim. And again, usage-wise off last game, maybe it's Theodore, who, if you remember, got hurt last year and obviously didn't play the rest of the tournament. He separated his shoulder or whatever, but...
I'm surprised at the Parayko conversation in the chat right now. I don't mind. Excuse me. I don't mind Parayko. I just kind of know what he is. Like, I don't have high expectations.
He's not a puck mover. He's a strong skater, which I think will help when you get into games against the USA and stuff. I think keeping up with their speed will be very important. I think you need a strong puck mover with him on a pair, which is why I'm very intrigued at the idea of Josh Morrissey being back in the lineup.
Yeah, I don't mind Parayko. You also do need penalty killers in this. He's a penalty killing guy. I don't think he's anything special. Maybe they can play him a little bit less, but it is what it is.
Can I tell you the one defenseman who I've maybe been the most disappointed in? Devon Taves.
Yeah.
Good Lord, if he didn't play on Colorado, he would not be on this team.
No, he wouldn't be. We talked about this beforehand. It's just like he's there because of Cale McCaw. Now, obviously, the conversation was, should Zach Hyman in there for the McDavid? He doesn't seem to be in a problem, but it does show as well how good Cale McCaw is. The two of them obviously have some chemistry together, but I wouldn't have taken him based off individual play. Sweden
today is healthy scratching Rasmus Andersson and Jesper Bratt.
Hell yeah.
That's scratching Anderson, sure. He's maybe not one of their best defensemen. Scratching Jesper Bratt is a criminal thing to do.
I hope they lose.
That coach maybe needs to be taught a lesson.
I just saw a lot of Swedish fans, I guess, or Swedish fans or reporters, whoever they were, when they weren't talking about the curling, they were talking about this coach and being like, this isn't the SHL, like, where you can just like make these heavy statements. It's like, you need to play the best guys, and you need to take the best guys. And they've been underwhelming. What are they, the 7th seed? How are they not a top 4 team? They have a roster of NHL players. The fact Slovakia is a top 4 team and Finland, who are both in your group, and here you are, healthy scratching Jesper Bratt, who is a really, really good NHL player for
Marcus Johansson and Pontus Holmberg.
What the hell? Forsberg. Like, Forsberg's barely playing.
I know.
It's so silly. So silly.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And this is a big reason why I think Team Canada can beat Team Europe.
Question from Wise Kyle. Should we incorporate something like this tournament structure into the NHL playoffs? Can we do a series in the wild card round and make it round robin? No, I don't think you need to. The NHL's
like 1 game elimination.
The NHL definitely does not need to mess with their playoffs. It's electric.
Yeah,
I think Wise Kyle's asking for a round robin.
Oh, That they do that. It's just the 82 game regular season.
That is the round robin.
We can label it the preliminary round if you want. It would just be a lot longer.
Just go full European and start calling the regular season the prelims.
Yeah, prelims. No, Kyle.
No.
I mean, I think
No.
I think the other side of it too is like it just takes away from the this. The World Championships gives you a bit of a longer one.
Yep.
So I think I might watch the World Championships this year.
You're gonna become a World Championships guy?
I don't know. Our conversation with Steven the other day got me going a little bit.
Got you fired up for a little World Championship hockey?
It is interesting.
You are going to not do that when the Edmonton Oilers are still in the playoffs. You're going to definitely not be waking up at 8 a.m. to watch World Championship games.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
All right. Some love to give to some friends here before we keep cruising along. First off, shout out to Derek Dodge. It's the beginning of a new chapter for Derek Dodge. They're under new ownership, bringing a fresh approach, new energy, and a renewed focus on customer experience. And right now, they have an unbeatable deal. Look at that. It's on your screen. You leave the lot with a new vehicle, and flights and accommodations for a trip for two to Las Vegas is on them. That is tough to beat. Visit them, 6211 104th Street Northwest, or online at derekdodge.com. Again, tomorrow, it is a 8:40 puck drop for Canada from the Milano Cortina Games, the Winter Games. Germany-Slovakia is the 4 a.m. game. Would love to know if any of you guys are waking up for that.
Germany-Slovakia?
Yeah. You're not 4 a.m. alarm for Germany, Slovakia. I curl late tonight too. I'm hitting the pebbled ice. I curl late. We're not going to be off the ice till like 11. Maybe I'll just pull an all-nighter. I'll have a couple beers in me. Amber will be like, "Why aren't you coming to bed?" I'll be like, "Can't sleep. Germany, Slovakia is 3 hours away."
I gotta watch Stutzla versus Slavkovsky.
I've done it before where, like, you wake up to maybe like take a pee middle of the night and you're like, oh, I'll turn it on the TV in the bedroom and then kind of like listen to it, wake up throughout, check the score. I'll do that.
You like get the game through like sleep osmosis where you're sleeping the whole time, but you wake up and are like, you know what? I think I got a good handle for how that one went.
Played great.
Czechia, Canada is the 8:40 game. Switzerland, Finland is the 10:10 game. So there'll be some overlap there. And then USA versus the ever popular TBD, likely going to be Sweden. That is the 1:10 game. So,
wow, Germany are favorites to win that game.
Yeah. Is it a pick 'em or is
no,
it?
minus 115 to minus 105.
Okay.
So this is a legit favorite.
I don't mind Germany there. Germany money line
225 on the puck line.
Ooh, I think that game is screaming overtime. 3-on-3 overtime. Remember that. The gold medal game could be decided in 3-on-3 overtime.
God,
that's a mistake. Every other round, I'm okay with it. A gold medal has to be 5-on-5.
I think every elimination game deserves to be 5-on-5.
Yeah, I could agree with that too.
Because that means it would go to a shootout. That would be ridiculous.
What a buzzkill. I saw Matt Larkin was tweeting about he was like, Angel on my shoulder, 3-on-3 overtime for the gold medal would suck. Devil on my shoulder, Connor McDavid, Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, throw them over the boards to win a gold medal. They probably get the job done. And then the devil on the shoulder of that devil is, oh my God, Jordan Binnington. Fuck.
Hey, he makes the saves.
I mean, yeah, and maybe I should stop doubting Jordan Binnington, but it's always just going to be lingering there a little
Question, I wasn't maybe listening clearly there. Is it set time for 3-on-3? Or you said the word shootout?
I believe it goes to a shootout.
I think it's only 5 minutes of 3-on-3.
Are you serious?
Well, let's look it up.
We can find it out,
because that's insane.
Yeah, this is
3-on-3 for the gold medal would be absolutely
Olympic
criminal.
Hockey.
It'd be tough on the heart, but it is exciting to think of.
Yeah, 3-on-3 for 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Followed by a shootout if it remains. Oh, overtime in the gold medal game will be 20-minute periods of 3-on-3 until someone scores. So it will not go to a shootout.
Sorry. Gold medal overtime is a 20-minute 3-on-3.
Yeah, so it says. In every elimination game except the gold medal, overtime will consist of 10 minutes, 3-on-3 overtime, sudden death period followed by a shootout. If it remains tied in the gold medal game, it will consist of 20-minute periods of 3-on-3 sudden death overtime until someone scores.
The thought of that makes me want to throw up.
That is awesome. I should go full Edmonton minor hockey week. You eliminate a player.
So, like, there's a problem right now in the NHL where teams are playing 3-on-3 overtime too passive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to take shots unless it's basically a guaranteed goal. A lot of, like, what would that look like? Nobody would want to take a shot and potentially have it go back the other way.
Yeah. No. It'd be a very dangerous game to play.
It might be a lot of just skating around for a while until someone breaks free for a breakaway.
I just get it done early.
That makes me happy Bush isn't on the team. I couldn't deal with that stress.
I don't think he'd be starting
The
no team.
stress of Evan Bouchard winning you an Olympic gold.
Nice.
Like,
The interesting part would
that's
be
just
how
gross.
you shorten your bench. Because like on the blue line, you only... How many guys do you use? Like, is there it gets to a point where it's like, okay, we're in the offensive zone, we're just using 3 forwards?
Oh, that's even...
You know what I mean? Like, or you just like trust that...
I have so
Let's
much
just
anxiety right now.
Let's just say, for example, defensive zone draw, but offensive zone draw, sorry. You don't want a defenseman, so you just have like Suzuki, McDavid, McKinnon
Oh, and you trust Suzuki to snap
to
the
be your
drawback for you.
defensive guy.
Or Marner even.
Yeah, like someone who's like defensive minded. Even
Yeah.
like this might be silly. Mark Stone.
You can't put him out there in
Not
3-on-3
fast
OT.
enough.
He cannot
Fair
skate.
enough. But like the rest of them is just like, okay, you got some offensive bodies, defensive bodies here.
This is not a fun exercise. I don't like thinking of the gold medal game going to 3-on-3 overtime. Anyways.
The U.S. won their World Championship gold in overtime, I believe. Tate Thompson overtime goal. I'm a
are
World
correct.
Championship guy.
Yeah. All right. Should we get to our guest? This is an exciting one.
Yeah.
All right. Our guest line brought to you by Oodle Noodle. You can head to oodlenoodle.ca, take advantage of the value menu deal, which allows you to add 2 green onion cakes, 5 spring rolls, or 6 wontons to your order for just $2. Also, right now, head to any participating Oodle Noodle in the Edmonton area. Find a location near you, and you'll see a ballot box to potentially win a trip to come with us to beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada for the nation vacation coming up in March. No purchase necessary. Walk in the store, get your ballot, fill it out, and then when you buy delicious noodles from Oodle Noodle, you can enter a second time. It's a win-win-win deal. oodlenoodle.ca to find out more. Our next guest is an Olympic gold medalist, a 2-time Olympian. Very honored to be joined today by John Morris. John, thanks for popping on.
Good afternoon, fellas. How are you?
We are
Great.
good. We had the curling on before we started our show, had to turn it off because if the IOC even sees a pixel of it, they will ban our stream and copyright strike us. But that's where we obviously want to start with you. We'll get into some other Olympic stories and things like that. But somehow curling has become the story of these 2026 games. We won't spend a ton of time on it, but what was your first reaction when you saw the mega viral Mark Kennedy clip?
Well, I was glad he stood up for himself to start because, I think it was a little bit surprising the timing of what the Swedish fellow Oscar did there. And, Mark's a true competitor, a fierce competitor. And when someone accuses you of cheating at the highest stage in the, obviously you're going to get pretty defensive. And I'm glad he stood up for himself. And a little bit, kind of made me a little sick to my stomach that a lot of the comments that were going viral, the fact that a lot of people were making judgment about curling when they knew nothing about it. And, that'd be like me making a judgment about figure skating, technicality in figure skating. I know nothing about it. And I see a BuzzFeed that says Canadian figure skater accused, and I think if you actually ask the curling world and people that really know what's going on, it's been blown out of proportion. There's been a little bit of, some merit question here. And, I'm glad Mark stood up for him, and I can tell you this: Mark is a true Canadian. That is, he plays with his heart, and he's one of the most honest and fair teammates I've ever had in my career.
So, sorry, can I just jump in?
Go ahead.
Because we love Mark. Mark came on our show before the Olympics. I'm a St. Albert guy, curl out of the same club, like all of that stuff. Love Mark Kennedy. We're here to let everyone know Mark Kennedy's got shooters out there. We will stand up for him. My beef with this situation, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, and if any part of what I believe in my head is like off base, but like these guys curl against each other all year. Sweden comes over, that Adine rink, they do the Grand Slam of curling, all of this stuff. They would know that this happens sometimes with the way Mark releases it. I think it is I'm annoyed and I'm quite frankly pissed off at the timing of this. And I feel like this was a bit of like a planned thing of like, Sweden's losing. You know what we're going to do? We're going to start throwing a bit of a tantrum here and yelling about this. And to frame it in a way that's cheating, with that sort of if you want to call it an infraction, it would be like watching a hockey player go offside and be like, what a disgusting cheater. Like, it's not like he's grossly changing the outcome of that shot when his hand grazes the granite.
You're 100% right.
Yes.
It is. The timing was very strange. It seemed like there was possibly some gamesmanship there. And what I think was, really unfortunate about it is that this is something that probably quite a few curlers do, that they don't even realize they're doing it. And no one's ever called us out in the history of a curling competition. So it's not like we've ever been watched if we're double touching. And then secondly, you throw these officials and good luck officials, like, here's something you've never had to observe or try to crack down on in your entire career as an official, and now it's the Olympics and all eyes are on you. And I actually felt kind of bad for the other teams after the fact when they got burnt for a few double touches, again, that they didn't even realize they were doing, if it was even happening. And that's what it kind of turned us into, a bit of fiasco. So the timing, as you say, was very strange, and you can't help but think that it was being done to maybe change the dynamic out there and maybe get under Canadian skin.
Mm-hmm. I think when you look at the women's team as well, for Holman, they got called out on it, and the official who was trying to tell Rachel and her team what had happened, like, they're just in a bad spot now because everyone's just calling them out so unnecessarily. But I guess moving away from that, just on Holman's team, our producer before the show told us to ask, she was like, ask him how Holman's team got so hot. It's like, I don't think they even got red hot. They just kind of were cooled down and now have come back to where the level they're at. Like, what have you kind of made of their back end run of the round robin here?
Well, I think the Olympics is, the stress and the pressure at the Olympics is, you can't even explain. Like, as an athlete, you go from a couple of reporters after a game to 25, and every eyeball is on everything you're doing the entire time, and it's just really hard. And I think that it's quite challenging for, like, you see on the same side on the men's front, Bruce Mowat, they were the best team in the world for the last 4 years, and now they're in the middle of the pack, and essentially, it's really hard to predict how an athlete's going to perform under that extreme pressure. And I think that you kind of saw it a little bit. They're feeling the heat, and there's some other things at play, some ice conditions and such. But I think they're starting to find their groove, and they grinded out a win against Sweden. It wasn't textbook Rachel Homan. But it was a win they really needed. So the fact that they're grinding out wins when they need it, because I don't know if they can afford another loss. Mm-hmm. I think that this would be a great story for her and her team, is if they can come through this Olympic adversity and be able to make the playoffs, and then keep trending up and getting better each game. And I'm definitely not counting them out. They're the number one team in the world for a reason, and it's going to be really, I'll tell you what, this next few days of the Olympics, between the men's hockey and the women's hockey final and the curling, man, it's like must-see TV. Like, get your popcorn ready, boys. This is it.
We're in the thick of it.
We are. It's starting to, the pressure's getting cranked up. I'd like maybe a bit more of a technical question, and this maybe isn't even specifically the Olympics, but any kind of tournament you play, whether it's a Brier or a Grand Slam event. I don't think people who maybe only watch curling once every 4 years at the Olympics understand how much of an impact the ice and the stones can have, and how much variance there could kind of be. And I heard an interview coming out of the mixed doubles this year where there was a comment about it kind of took us a while to get used to these rocks and the way they were running, and then we were just too far behind the 8-ball and couldn't catch up. That was Canada's team with Gallant. But how much of the early stages of the Olympics is spent learning the ice, learning the rocks, and how much is that a part of your even preparation?
You have to be, when you're in the zone, you have to be dialed into absolutely everything that's happening out there. The temperature, the ice conditions, the rocks, and it's like you're in that. But if you can get in that zone, things come pretty clearly. But with that being said, I've been at Olympics. I've been at Worlds and Briars where the ice and the stones change, and the team that can really adapt to that the best and have the best attitude about it is usually the team that comes out on top. And I know that whenever ice gets a little straighter and quicker, it's not in the favor of Canadians. We like ice that curls more and has more, because we can play more of our aggressive style. So what happened in the mixed doubles, it got straighter and quicker, and it's tough in mixed doubles to, the game's going so fast. So I felt for Joss and Brett because it definitely was tricky watching that. And if you've been watching the men's and women's here, we're at the point in the week where they shave the rocks. So they sandpaper the rocks. They've probably just done it, and you're going to start seeing a little bit different curling. You're going to see misses. More of the misses will be over curling and light. And again, the teams that can pick that up the best will essentially be in the best position to make a long playoff run. But with that being said, late in the semifinals and finals, it's going to change again. It's going to get quicker and straighter again. So there's just so much adapting you have to do as a curler, and that's where, as a Canadian, it's in our blood. We've been curling since we were 5 and 10 years old, a lot of us. So we've seen so many different situations like that. And, we pride ourselves on being able to adapt to those situations.
Yeah. I wanted to bring it back to Kennedy just on one other thing. I believe he is the oldest Canadian Olympian at this year's
44
games.
years old.
44. How impressive is it for him to still be going at such a high rate? Like, he's one of the best players in the world still.
Fourth Olympics that he's playing in,
yeah.
fifth that he's been a part of. Like, that's just, for any Olympian in any sport to do that is mind-bogglingly impressive.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy because I was the last Olympics, I was the oldest athlete. So Mark took that title from me this time, which I'm pretty happy about. But you know what? Mark he's a true pro. I know he gave up alcohol, I think about, maybe 6 or 8 years ago. He lives a real clean life, and he lives and breathes curling. And I think it's a testament to the shape he's kept himself in. And, I think that curling's also a sport, though, let's be honest, where, if this was gymnastics, we're probably not looking at 44-year-old gymnasts out there. No. But, with curlers, with the veteran savvy and the experience can go a long way as long as you keep yourself in good shape. So I think that, the sport he chose was a good one to play into his 40s. And, is this his last one? Who knows? But it's sure proud. I think he'd be a good commercial for some of those longevity drugs out there,
So I want to spin this into a couple different ways. But when we had Mark on, he was talking about how this year, where the curling's happening is kind of away from the main athletes' village. And we joked to them that, hey, maybe back in 2010, you would have been a little bit disappointed to be away from the party. Yeah. But in 2026, Mark's totally fine, being out and away. But let's go back to 2010 and that rink and being in Vancouver and walking into that Olympics with the pressure of being on home ice, but also just the spectacle that it was. What were your first memories being in that athletes' village and being around and just that Olympic atmosphere?
Oh, Vancouver was, again, it's still the best month of my life. It was, having a home games. I really wish hope we can get a home games back to Canada, because what it did to our nation. And the feeling as an athlete to play in home games is next level. And hey, the other thing that's a bonus is you can watch the games in real time, prime time, rather than waking up at 4 a.m. to watch Czech Germany in hockey, which I've been doing. But essentially, Vancouver was off the charts. I'll give you a couple stories if we got time. I'll give you a couple of mine. So I remember going into the first few days we stayed at the Village. And there's, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go work out like an athlete, like an Olympian. I'm going to crush some weights, and I go in there, and Chris Pronger's in there, and I'm a pretty skinny dude. I got skinny legs, right? It's just been, genetics didn't do me well that way. But I go in there, and I'm crushing some weights, getting pumped to get at it, and I look over, and there's Chris Pronger, and I've only seen him on TV, and he's a beast on TV. He was playing for, I think, the Oilers back in the day, and I look over, I'm like, man, Chris Pronger's as skinny as me. but he was a beast. I went over and introduced myself, and just he ended up having a great Olympics and seeing how he played, and just as so that was a good. And I'll give you my condom story because I know that it's going viral. That we're running out of condoms.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to set the record straight with condoms. I know you want to hear stories about all these orgies that go on in the village.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't happen, fellas. I wish I could say it did, but it doesn't.
So who's taking the condoms then? Where are they going?
So my first, I go in the gym. I think it was the same, maybe the same workout. And there's baskets. They have these baskets of condoms. And I remember seeing the basket. It's like empty. And I talked to the volunteer there. I said, is that the condom basket? It's empty. And she's like, yeah, but it's not what it seems. She goes, these other nations that are not, like they're more, I'd say, developing nations that they don't have, they're not they're economically challenged. These athletes will come in there and they don't have access to condoms like we have in Canada. So she's like, yeah, I think it was someone from like Kazakhstan or something that's come in here and thrown they took the whole basket, put it in their backpack, and they're bringing it home to Kazakhstan. And I'm like, all right. And then all you get is reports it's like condoms, or they're running out of condoms at the village. So that's legit, is what really is happening at these villages. Is unless it's changed, which I'll be honest with you, I don't think it has. Like these athletes are dialed into we're dialed in. If you're single at the Olympics and then your games are over, like that's when you might get a little more roused, a little spicy there, But for the most part, these athletes are so dialed into their sport, and a lot of them are not even. There's none of that going on. Like the villages are dry too, and that's, usually you need a little bit of sauce. Sometimes helps with that too. So that's the straight goods on the domers at the Olympics. Is they're not being used like we think the world thinks they're getting used. They're being used by a few and far between.
Okay, so you mentioned like before your event, again, dry, like you're dialed in. For you guys back in 2010, you called it the best month of your life. Can we talk about what would it have been, a 48-hour gap, even less than that, from you guys winning gold to being in the building to watch the men's hockey team win gold? What was it? Was it 24 hours only?
Yeah, so here's that story. That's a good one too. So we've been, the village is dry. Okay, they had a vitamin water bar. Okay, that was at the time it was vitamin water sponsoring. So everyone wants tickets to the men's hockey game. All the athletes do. And what you do is you put these with the Canada House and your Canadian Olympic Association. You put your requests in on this board. Like men's curling team wants any hockey games we can get, and speed skating and whatever. And it's kind of like if you get one ticket for your team throughout the week, you've kind of lucked out. So we were just like, man, everyone wants a ticket to that gold medal game, at that hockey game. That's like, they were going for 10 grand back in 2010. You can imagine what they're going for now. Yeah. So we're putting in requests. We hear nothing. It's crickets. Like, okay, we're just kind of keeping our fingers crossed. We go out there, and we've been hanging out with Sid and Marc-Andre Fleury and Shea Weber. They're the only three that were actually hanging out at the village. They're making a big stink out of the hockey team not staying in the villages this year. They never do. Like, there's maybe a few players that will stay in the village of the hockey team. In Vancouver, they had a hotel too, but they didn't make a big stink of it. It wasn't drama, which is what it has been here. Which again, the fact that they're dramatizing stuff like this now is interesting to me. But so we win our game. We go and we win the gold for Canada on the Saturday. The men's hockey finals on the Sunday. All of a sudden, we get back to the village. It was the most whirlwind of a day. We get back at like midnight, celebrate, and we have the most. Oh, and by the way, guess what we did? Guess what we did the next day? Okay, this is a bit of a long-winded story, but I'll get to it.
I love it.
The next day, we go to the BC liquor store. We buy $1,000 worth of booze, and we smuggle it. We smuggle it in the village because we have it. But by then, we knew all the security, and it was the last day of the Olympics. We knew all the security volunteers, and they knew, like they're giving us high fives as we're going in the village now. And we go in the next day, and we have like our curling bags, and they're full of like Crown Royal beer, and we're like, okay, all the athletes are pretty much done. I'm pretty sure a lot of them are looking forward to vitamin water, something else going in their vitamin water. So we ended up bringing in about $1,000 worth of booze to the village the last day. Then we get to the village, and we all of a sudden it's like we have like not only one offer for tickets, we got the Shaw family. We can go and they want us up in their box to watch the game. We got like 3 offers for this game, and we're like, and we end up getting tickets because we're like, you know what? We want to enjoy this with the Canadian fans. Like, so we get tickets in the stands, 10 rows up, and I'll never forget that. I'm watching with my team. We couldn't, every time we tried to get up to go get a beer, it was like someone behind us was like, the Canadian curlers need a beer, and they have like 8 more they're handing to us, right? So we never had to get up once to go to go get a beer on that Sunday. And then there was about a minute left in that game, and the U.S. tie it up, and it like hushes the crowd. And I remember looking over at Benny, and they were like kind of in shock. I'm like, boys, this is going to be the best. I'm like, it's not as much fun when you hang on to a 1-goal lead, right? Yeah. And win or maybe get an empty netter. I'm like, we're going to win this in OT. And the best part was we saw the American goal because it was, and then we got Crosby's goal. We were 10 seats up, and it was off the charts. And then we finally see Crosby and the boys come to the Village that night, and we pulled Crosby aside. We're getting pictures with him. We're hanging out, and we're like, "Hey, Sid, if you want something else besides vitamin water, go see Frank go see Frank and tell him you're Canadian at the end of the vitamin water bar. He's gonna hook you up." So we ended up staying up with those guys till about 3 a.m. and had one of the best parties of all time. And I still have Sid's signed stick, his jersey, his gloves, and a ticket from that game. And it's one of my most precious memories I'll ever have. That
is great. I love that story that you had the vitamin water bartender just on the side down by the ground, like pouring a little something into the cups for the guys. That's so good. And you said you partied till 3 a.m. I don't think I would have been able to sleep. Never mind the adrenaline of seeing that gold medal game, but then paired with the adrenaline of like, you also have a gold medal around your neck. Like, that's just insane.
Yeah, it was pretty special. And actually, Sid even said, we were chatting with Sid throughout that week, and he was saying that one thing the Penguins did that week to prepare, they did a team building event at the curling club, and they went curling in Pittsburgh. And he's like, Johnny, he goes, I was sore for 3 days after that. He goes, I had muscles I didn't even know I had that were sore after curling. So I think that it's one of those where, it was kind of it was great to see Sid give some props to some curlers. And it's so fun watching Sid. To me, he's the penultimate Canadian athlete and hockey player. And it's just so great to see him doing so well at 38 years old. It gives me goosebumps seeing him out there and just leading that team still.
Yeah. He's an incredible player still, yeah.
Crazy.
One other thing, I guess. We saw the video, the pictures of the Canadian team watching the speed skating.
Yeah.
And they were they had the big crash in front. When you went to your first Olympics, was there a sport that you started watching? You were like, oh, this is way crazier than I anticipated it being.
It was 100% the speed skate. The short track speed skating that's the event I wanted to go to the most. And I was lucky because in Vancouver we went to one. And then when I went back in 2018, I was like, we got to go to the short track speed skating. Like, this is off the charts. It's just, intense, dramatic. You never know, one slip and guy could have his, jugular cut, with those skates that they're using. And it was awesome. And the speed skaters are great people too. And you end up, one thing about the games is you end up just becoming a huge team. We don't see these athletes at all for 4 years, and then all of a sudden we're all on one team, and you really want to go and just enjoy the games and support your fellow countrymen. And there's nothing better than when you're in a curling game and looking up and seeing other athletes up there cheering you on. It really gives you that extra shot of adrenaline, and that's what it is at the games. And but yeah, if you're going to Olympic first timer, you got to get some short track speed skating tickets, because that sport's off the charts.
I like asking this question. I did a thing with Rick Nash the other day and asked him where he keeps it, but where do you keep your gold medal? Do you have it framed up nicely in the house? Is it tucked away in a safe? Where do you keep it?
Well, I wish I had a more exciting answer, but the one thing about your medal is if it's ever lost in a fire or stolen, or you lose it, you never get it back. So it's one thing I really I keep it in a bank deposit box.
Oh.
But the interesting thing, I got more of a better story about our medals. In Vancouver, they lost we got our medals, and then they came in this really cool case with this handkerchief. We never saw those. They were lost somehow. I don't know who's to blame, and to be honest with you, I don't care. I'm not gonna. But we never got them, and so I went home and I'm like, man, like you got to protect your medal because it's usually like that's why they had this felt handkerchief. So I got a Crown Royal bag at home, and it's like this perfect felt, and I keep both my medals in Crown Royal bags, and that's like the best way to protect it, in my opinion. So that's how I roll with my medals is, keep a little Canadian Crown Royal bag around them.
We're going to clip a whole bunch of this and send it to try to get a Crown Royal ad deal on our show. And if we do, we'll make sure we throw you like a nice 10% of it. Last one, I'll go finish with a good nerdy curling question. This Brad Jacobs rink, who on that men's side is their biggest threat to gold? What do they got to do to come home with gold?
You know what? I think if I was to predict them, from what I'm seeing about midweek here, I actually think it's going to be Switzerland and Canada in the final.
Okay. I'm
thinking the Swiss are playing great. They played fantastic against us in the round robin, and they seem really dialed in. Now, can they do that for an entire 10 days? That's another question. But from what I'm seeing, those two teams right now are the most dialed in, and if I was to predict right now, I'd be going with Switzerland, Canada.
Switzerland, Canada. I could get behind that. All right, John, this was absolutely unbelievable. We were joking before that we've now had 3/4 of that 2010 gold medal team because we did a thing with Kevin last year. Yep. We had Mark on before he went to Italy. Now you. So maybe it's a gold medal and a Ben Hebert appearance to finish it off. It's what we got to do. But honestly, maybe this was great. If you're open to it, maybe we'll bug you later in the week or next week and we can do a little curling gold medal preview if Canada's still buzzing.
Sure thing, fellas. Anytime. Go Canada,
thanks,
baby.
John.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Go Canada.
Olympic gold medalist John Morris, curling legend. I mean, just in like getting ready for this and going back and reading everything he's done in his career, man, like the list of accolades: gold in 2010 men's, gold in 2018 in mixed doubles, 3-time world champion, won a Brier, like a curling lifer. He had world junior championships as well. Unbelievable, and an unbelievable storyteller on top of it.
The gold medal story is pretty cool. And I also thought it was funny if Sid had to go down to that bartender and be like, hey, I'm Canadian.
Yeah. I would hope the bartender would have been like, Mr. Crosby, great goal earlier tonight. Here you go. That's funny. Anyways, big shout out to John for popping by and giving us some time. He was awesome. All right. We got a couple of things to get to, Liam, in the back 30 minutes here of the show. That was just so much fun.
It was really fun.
Also one of those interviews where like you and I prepped like 10 questions and we only had to ask like 4 of them because you just tee him up and he runs and he gave us some good stuff.
I like doing the ones of other sports too because we obviously both fans of curling to like learn a little bit more about it. Like the stuff he was talking about with the speed of the ice and everything. Like you hear that stuff, but you don't necessarily understand what it means. So to hear that, and I didn't ever think of it being like a different style in the sense of like Canadians like to have it curl more where maybe other countries just like more of a straight shot and kind of, what would that go, hitting more than anything? Yeah. That's how I play.
You're hitting.
Yeah, I just try and get it down the ice more than anything.
I am going to get into what's trending here. There's a couple of things to touch on, including something that's trending from our guy Ryan Holt down in Bakersfield. Calvin Pickard on the ice down in Bakersfield today. So I missed it, but I hadn't seen the news that the Oilers had officially assigned him down.
They did while you were away.
Okay, it was while I was gone. That makes sense.
Him and Samanski both officially went down.
Okay, they both went down. So anyways, Calvin Pickard is on the ice down in Bakersfield, which also means, again, this was an issue last year with a couple of players. He's reporting. Which, again, last year some guys were told to go to Bakersfield and politely, or maybe not quite politely, declined that invite.
At least the second time around.
Yeah.
It does show the level of professionalism that Calvin Pickard has, obviously. He's been a good soldier for the Oilers, and his agent had some interesting comments he made the other day on Gregor's show. And one thing he did say, though, is like, I think he'll be back for the playoffs, which, I mean, if Calvin Pickard isn't one of your black aces, then I think
What
you're
are you
doing
doing?
him a disservice as well.
Probably the team as well. They love having him.
Yeah, exactly.
But
So
I
it
did-
might only be like a month.
Again, this is not to like, and Rich Winter's segments on Gregor are very good and very informative. This is not to like whatever. I did think it was very funny, the reaction people had to it, because it's like, what do you expect the agent to say? He's not going to come out and be like, listen, I know the truth, Cal Bola. The only thing I didn't like from Rich Winter is like coming out and being like, Stan Bowman says he's not quite sure if Calvin isn't the number one. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
We don't need to be doing that and feeding into the narrative that there's a coach GM disconnect and all of this. And also, again, total respect to Rich Winter. I understand the job he has and why he has to say these things. There is a very clear reason why Calvin Pickard's not the number one. It's his .870 save percentage.
I also think too, those comments that like the one of I'm not sure if Pickard's not number one. As someone who has kind of been around it a little bit too, it's just like, oh, that was said at the start of the season.
Yeah.
That was 100% a comment going into the season where Bowman probably said like he might be our number one this year based off the playoffs and what we all saw. Like, and we all knew there was going to be a competition, and he probably wasn't lying necessarily, but like words were probably twisted a little bit. Timing of things is definitely part of all of this.
I agree. What else is trending? Brunch for Ben is back, everybody. Very, very excited for this year. One of my favorite events that we do on the year. Brunch for Ben this year. It is going to be in a different spot. It is coming up on Saturday, February 28th. So we are about 10 days away. There is a matinee game. So, of course, Brunch for Ben, it is for families. We want you to come down, bring your kids. We're going to be raising money in support of the Ben Stelter Foundation. Just pulling up a couple of the finer details on this one here. But we're going to be doing a live show from there. If you go to nationgear.ca, you can get your tickets. It's going to be at the Matrix Hotel. So again, nationgear.ca. You can also go and bid on a couple of interesting auction items, Liam. There's currently a bid for lunch with us, the Owen Everyday crew.
Damn.
So basically, I think the way this is going to work, if I'm understanding it correctly, is we'll work around your schedule and all of that stuff. But you're going to get to, again, it's a donation to the Ben Stelter Foundation. We're not taking any money for this. But you'll get to come down to our office. We'll have lunch with you down at Dog Patch. We'll bring you up, give you a tour of the studio. You'll get to meet everybody at Nation HQ. And then we'll take you down for lunch and a cold one at Dog Patch. And you'll get to ask us questions if you have questions for us. If you just want to hang out with us, have at her. But the bidding's now open. Have lunch with Oilersnation Everyday. Go to nationgear.ca. And again, if you want your tickets to the Brunch for Ben, they are up now as well. 4th annual event kicks off with a live show at noon. Doors open at noon. The live show's at 1. Puck drop is at 2 o'clock. A whole bunch of different sort of options you can have as well. Tickets for kids, tickets for adults, everything it comes to. Yeah.
Do you guys see what the current bid is for lunch with us?
$400.
Yeah, let's go.
$400?
Yeah, someone's going to bid $400 to hang out with us for a morning.
Damn.
Or an afternoon. Pretty cool.
Well, it is going to Ben Stelter.
Yeah, it is going to the Ben Stelter, so it's a donation.
Yeah.
Your ticket, by the way, the Brunch for Ben ticket, the individual adult ticket, gets you your entry into the Brunch for Ben to support the Ben Stelter Foundation, access to the PGX mini golf experience where there are more prizes to be won. I did not know we were mini golfing at this bad boy.
Damn.
You get a swag bag, brunch buffet, seating at a Shared Nation Citizens table. So, yeah, giddy up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Children under 3 get in for free, by the way.
Oh, cool.
And if you're coming from out of town and you want to stay at the Matrix Hotel, you get 15% off your room. So if you want to make it,
I've stayed at the Matrix a couple of times. I've been to a couple of weddings there. It's a great place to stay. It's a great hotel. I'm a big fan of the Matrix. Couple weddings in that room, big room. I'm assuming it's in one of the ballrooms.
yeah.
Good spot. A lot of parking there too, if you're curious.
Parking's
good.
So Brunch for Ben is back. It's coming up on February 28th.
Yeah.
Giddy up. Canada with a gold medal, Liam. Gold in speed skating team pursuit. They have repeated as world champions or Olympic
Really?
champions.
Team Pursuit. So that's when they have the 4 people going around.
Yeah.
Cool. I was watching a relay of them the other day. That was impressive. That was very impressive. That was good. I think we're up to 3 golds now.
Yep.
It's awesome.
What are the medal standings now? So Canada up to 3 golds, 4 silver, and 5 bronze. That's 12 total medals. Norway is actually running away with this at 14 golds.
Yeah, that Norway has been crazy. There was actually, do you remember the other day I asked you what country should be better at hockey?
Yeah.
And Mighty Ducks, the Iceland thing was one of them. Norway was another one. And there was an article today talking about why Norway isn't a good hockey nation. So you can go check that out wherever you get your reading stuff too. But Norway has just been absolutely dominant for a country of like 5 million people.
Yeah.
Kind of wild,
Pretty
to be
impressive.
honest.
I saw this story. Courtney Saroux has won 3 medals at the Olympics. She has earned, as like her...
She Canadian?
Yeah, she's Canadian. She's earned $55,000 for winning those 3 medals. If she were Italian, the number would be nearly 7 times that. If she were Polish, she'd come home to about $211,000, as well as a furnished apartment, a car, and a collection of other gifts. If she were Singaporean, she would come home to about $1.3 million in the bank. But yeah, she earned $15,000 for each of her silvers, $10,000 for her bronze, and an additional $5,000 for each medal from a different foundation that was established. But
Cool.
She gets 50. That is an interesting thing where
I didn't know they got paid, to be honest.
it's up to each country's individual federations, obviously,
cool,
right?
Cool.
But I think the point of this article was kind of like, why are Canadian medalists paid so little?
Yeah.
Compared to the other countries. It is an interesting kind of debate and topic.
I think Canadian sports are underfunded across the nation, to be honest, so it's not that much of a surprise.
Yeah, and that's probably fair too.
Like, I'd love to go and look and do some research on like why they were so successful in comparison to now, where it's just like you get the odd medal here and there.
I think you'd see a direct correlation to the funding that the country put into making sure our athletes were ready to go in 2010.
And I do think when you host an Olympics, it is a bit different. It's like the home field advantage, I guess. Like, we're seeing the Italians do so well this year too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's I'd be curious to go look at it. But again, like even the curling athletes, they're all part-timers.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, this was a few years ago, it might be different now, but there was someone I know who worked with Brendan Botcher, and he ran out of time off like a month into the year. And he just had to like ask people to cover for him and work all these extra shifts. Like, what kind of life is he trying to live?
Yeah.
Whilst trying to be an elite athlete. I think he won the Brier that same year. It's crazy what they have to do.
That is insane. All right. Couple more things to get to. I think that's kind of it. Did we cover everything Winter Games wise?
The French player was suspended.
Oh yeah, the French Federation suspended the guy who was in the fight, Cronin or whatever.
Yeah. Who
was in the fight with Tom Wilson. They suspended him for the remainder of the tournament.
But not for the fight. It was for what happened after, where he was like egging on the crowd and doing whatever else he was doing. And some French players came out today and said it felt like he had done something prior, and it felt like this was a ripple effect of that. And Pierre-Edouard Bellemare said he's probably done.
Yeah, he said he's done. He said physically he thinks he could keep playing, but he says that's not fair to his wife and kids to have to keep moving around and take 1-year deals everywhere and all this stuff. So he's done, even though in 4 years the Olympics are in France.
I know. Too bad. He is 40.
Yeah. Also, he could probably come back and just pick it up in 3 years.
Especially on that French team.
And make that French team. Someone said, did Mangiapane get traded? No. The roster freeze is still underway. Teams can't make trades, even though players are starting to come back and report. We are 8 days away. Next Wednesday is when the Oilers will resume play.
Yeah, they can report back today, as of today. Yes.
Yeah, so you did see like the Leafs. Some teams have players taking skates.
Gotcha.
The Oilers did some informal stuff over the break. Like I saw Nuge, Darnell Nurse, Matt Savoy, Kapanen, Podkolzin. A bunch of guys were skating at
downtown.
No, was it downtown? It was like Clairview or something like that. It was at the same spot where that Ben Stelter tournament was.
I wonder if they can't skate at that arena.
Yeah. All right. Ronda Rousey's returning. I don't follow mixed martial arts all that much.
Yeah, she's returning for a Netflix special fight.
So she's probably going to get her ass kicked for like $20 million?
I don't even know the girl she's fighting. Maybe someone else can remind me. But Ronda Rousey was the reason women's UFC was relevant.
Yeah, for a long time.
Brought it up, and then Holly Holmes obviously took it a little bit. Cyborg, Nunes, everyone. But I think it's kind of cool. She really did just fall off the deep end. She lost, never really came back, went to the WWE.
Oh, yeah.
And then now she's back fighting Gina Carano on Netflix.
Do we want to do State of the Nation poll today or tomorrow? We do have 20 minutes.
We can do it today because we have our Team Canada versus Europe tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So let's do it today. We had bugged you guys last week a few times to go fill out the State of the Nation poll. which we, again, asked you, nation citizens, readers, listeners. It's a mix of everybody, not just people who consume the podcast and shows. It's a mix of everybody. And we asked you some questions about basically the state of the Edmonton Oilers to get a good read on things here. The full story's up, Oilersnation.com. I can give it a little plug into the YouTube here. Oh, and I just lost it. Where is it? There it is. State of the Nation results. So let's go through a few of these, and you tell me, Liam, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being stunned, 1 being not surprised, how surprised you are that the voting went this way, okay?
Okay.
First one. Are you satisfied with Chris Knobloch and the Oilers coaching staff?
Do you want me to answer it? Oh, no, I already did it.
Yeah. 79% said no. Scale of 1 to 10, how much does that surprise you?
4. I don't think fans should be satisfied. I think it's been incredibly underwhelming.
Yeah, I think if it's isolated to just this year, I'm not surprised.
That's how I'm viewing it.
So yeah, I'd even say I'm a little bit lower. I'm like a 3. I thought maybe if I would have had to guess, I would have said I thought it would have been 60% would have said no.
Yeah.
Maybe a touch surprised that it's that high, but not surprised at all that the majority voted no.
What's this to be satisfied about?
Yeah.
It's been very, very underwhelming.
This next one I'm not surprised by because, again, I think when people fill out things like these, you tend to be maybe inherently a little bit more negative.
Okay.
Are you confident in GM Stan Bowman's ability to improve the team? 57% said no. I don't know what else. What are you like? Trent Frederick deal sucks. I know. The Mangiapane deal hasn't looked great. Kind of blown up in their face. I think you can also look at that Mangiapane deal and be like, remember, he got out of Arvidsson and got a pick for it. Mm-hmm. That's why they were allowed to go make the Mangiapane signing because they were like, you know what? We can't bring back Arvidsson. Let's do something else. I don't understand the people who are that upset with Bowman. Or maybe I should phrase it this way. I don't understand how you could have totally lost confidence in him because his good moves are still outweighing his bad moves.
I think so too. I would give that one a 7. I think that's more on the surprise side for me. I think even the Mangiapane thing, it not working, he still has 6 or 7 goals on the season, whatever it is. Like, it's not been as much of a disaster as it could have been. Imagine if him and Frederick were switched right now. You know what I mean? So they're not at the end of the day. People obviously will point to the Jari deal. At Knockout Panda said Jari deal was a bad trade. I don't think the jury's out on that one yet. I think we've got to wait and see.
We'll judge it at the end of the year.
So I don't think it's that bad. Brian in the chat says the Burrowberg and Holloway debacle is what upsets me, although most of it is on Jeff Jackson.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by that one.
And again, I didn't want Bowman to be hired as the GM. I said he had to win me over. I was not just going to give him the maybe same grace period that I would have given any other GM. He has, to an extent, impressed me with some of these moves. Next one. What should the Oilers' top priority be? Defenseman, third line center, and top 6 winger were the options. Defenseman got 53% of the vote. I will say 8 out of 10 surprised. I really thought people would want a top 6 winger.
I'm surprised. I thought it was going to be top 3 center. I think I'm leaning more towards the defenseman side of things too. So I'll say this one's like a 6 for me out of surprise.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be centerman, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I honestly thought defenseman would be 3rd on the list.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
think
why
people
I'm
always like the forward.
Yeah.
But I do think what people maybe saw of Warman those last couple of games. Maybe, yeah.
Next question. Which soon-to-be unrestricted free agent would be your highest priority to re-sign? Kapanen, Roslovic, and Ingram were the answers, or were your options. 39% voted Kasperi Kapanen. He was the leader. It was close. 34% went Roslovic. 26% went Ingram.
I'm very surprised by this one, but I think recency bias goes into it big time. Kapanen obviously went into the break pretty hot. I'll say this one surprises me an 8 out of 10. Mine would be Roslovic.
Okay. I mean, it's all dependent on contract.
Yeah.
If you could call Connor Ingram today and do the 3x1.9 that Brandon Bussey got.
Not 4x4 like Rick wanted.
No, not going all the way to 4x4. I'd consider that, right? If Jack Roslovic would sign a 4x4 right now, I'd probably give some consideration to it. If Kasperi Kapanen would sign a 2x1.75, I'd probably consider it. I think this question's hard to judge just because it's so relative to cost, in my opinion. Who do I think is the most valuable of the Oilers out of those 3? It's actually probably Connor Ingram, then Jack Roslovic, then Kasperi Kapanen.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, the voting was close. Kapanen was 39.7. Roslovic was 34.1. I'm just a little bit surprised. I thought it would be closer all across the board.
Well, here's what's interesting is 26%, the lowest of the three of that vote went to Ingram. The next question, who are you more confident in, Tristan Jarry or Connor Ingram? 69.4% of you said Connor Ingram. So why wouldn't you want him back if you think he's the number one?
Yeah.
That one, I will say, again, I think people are very in the moment when they vote on these. So I'm like 4 out of 10 surprised that it's Ingram getting that high of a vote.
I'm surprised by the gap. I'll actually say a 7. I thought it'd be more of like a 55-45 kind of thing. No? What do you think?
I think it's a runaway for Connor Ingram when I look at the chat night in, night out of who they have more confidence in.
I think
I thought
I
it'd be
have
like
more,
80% for Connor Ingram. I thought it'd be higher.
but I have more confidence in Ingram too. I just can't believe people have fallen off Jari that hard when both goalies have very bad numbers.
In 3 of Ingram's last 4 starts, he's been below a 900, below an 860 in them.
Yeah, neither of them have been good enough.
No.
Neither of them. But it is funny, like, when you look at the question above and it's only 26%.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the Oilers' season so far? 1 is lowest, 10 is highest. The vote that ended up getting the most out of the 10 options was 6 out of 10 at 33.4. That surprises me. Considering how negative the voters were with everything else, to be at a 6 out of 10, I get that they're within spitting distance of the top spot in the division. They have lost more games than they've won. To me, the vote here should have been 4 out of 10, which did finish as the 3rd most popular option, but that would have been my pick. Like, again, it's not disastrous. Disastrous would be 1, 2, or 3, but it's only a little above disastrous.
Such an interesting question. Because, which you shouldn't do this, but I will, take away the points, take away what, like, you just look straight up at the standings, like, oh, the Oilers are second with, like, 25 games left. You're pretty satisfied, but then you watch the product and you're like, oh, this is horrible every single night, it feels like. I'm probably more on, like, a 3 on the sense of, like, my satisfaction. So I'd say a surprise. I'm like an 8 surprised.
How far do the Oilers go in the Stanley Cup playoffs? Round 2 exit gets the highest amount of votes at 33%. Mm-hmm. Stanley Cup victory next at 25.2%. And then round 3, then round 1, then Stanley Cup final loss.
I do think it's interesting that people would vote it as a second round exit due to how underwhelming the Vegas Golden Knights also are. It's not like Vegas is 20 points ahead of the Oilers. Like, they have also not been that good and kind of living and dying off loser points. So, yeah, I'll say I'm surprised by that. I'll say like a 7. I think round 3.
I think the path to the conference finals is definitely there.
Yeah.
I do think a round 3 exit's most likely. Mm-hmm. And then I would honestly say that a cup victory is second most likely.
I think
they either lose in round 3 or they win the Stanley Cup.
If they lost in round 1, I think they would deserve it.
Oh, yeah.
I think if the Oilers fell in round 1, I just wouldn't be that upset with the way the season has gone.
Surprised or stunned. Like, I'd be pissed that they fucking squandered a year.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I guess
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like, I think heads should roll if that happens. Mm-hmm. And I think we'll see what I mean. Fingers crossed we don't have to have that conversation, but
and the other thing too, that like the way things are trending right now, if the playoffs started today, and I know this can be kind of a dangerous game, but there's also only 26 games, or in the Oilers' case, 24 games left in the season. 2 weeks away
from the deadline, less than a month.
If the season ended today, they're playing the Seattle Kraken in round 1. Mm. And even if they found a way to win their division, they'd be playing Utah in round 1. Oh my God, if you lose to Seattle, Utah, I'll even throw Anaheim and San Jose in there. Major alarm. Like, again, I haven't viewed this year as a cup or bust year. I don't think their roster is as good as it's been the past number of seasons. I think they're fully capable of winning a Stanley Cup, but I viewed this year as a potential year to do a little soft retool and then really hammer it next year. But good Lord, with all that being said, if you lose a first-round playoff series to the Kraken, Mammoth, Ducks, or Sharks, blow it up. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, you got some adjusting to do for sure.
Couple more quickly. 2 more to be exact. Do the Oilers win a Stanley Cup before the end of Connor McDavid's extension? 72% of you said yes. That's not surprising to me.
0.
Yeah, like that's kind of the number I thought it'd be.
Yeah. I mean, probably should. We probably should have that level of optimism.
Does Connor McDavid retire as an Edmonton Oiler? 63% said yes. That's actually the percent chance I think I'd honestly give it in my own brain that he does. I said yes. I think he will. I lean higher than 50%, but I think it's better than 50-50, but far from a lock that Connor McDavid never wears another sweater in his NHL career.
I agree. Yeah. I think today, if you had asked me this question last season at the end of the season, even before, I think my percentage would have been higher, to be honest, than it is right now. Which might seem strange because he obviously extended and everything, but like the team's not even close to where it should be. And his standards should be much higher. I thought D had a really good point, just as we continued on the goaltending, like we always do. D said there is no goalie on this planet that would look good playing with the Oilers right now. They've made goalies look bad over the last 2 decades. Talbot, Dubnyk, Skinner, just to name a few.
By the way, Skinner, in his 2 starts before the Olympic break, gave up 5 goals on 23 shots and 5 goals on 20 shots, 10 goals on 43 shots, 2 save percentages below 800.
I do think D's right, though. And I think if you just want to put it in the vacuum of like this past, honestly, since Christmas, this team has been brutal. They need to come back. I'm going to write an article on like 5 things I want to see from the Oilers. Should I tell you them?
Sure.
I want to see Knobloch figure it out, get some kahunas. Jake Wallman to find his pace.
He would be huge.
It makes a big difference.
Trickle-down effect that goes throughout the blue line and the roster if Wallman does that.
Obviously, more consistency from the goaltending that goes with the team as a whole. The other one was I want Stan Bowman to make a trade. A pretty simple
As
one.
do I.
The last one, let me just make sure I get it right here. Trade. The penalty kill to establish itself again. Like, the penalty kill was nothing special, but it was still like a top 10 defense. You know what I mean? I like hung around there at least for the most of the season. All of a sudden, it just decided that it was just a bunch of peewee players playing on the penalty kill and nothing was working. So they've got a lot to figure out, but those are my 5.
I like get back to adequate. That's what I'd say the PK was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
get back
anything
to
crazy.
adequate.
All right, wrapping up the show for our friends at Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary. At Bet365. Here are the lines that we have for tomorrow. Slovakia, Germany. Germany minus 115 favorites. So basically a pick 'em. Who do you like?
Slovakia.
I'll take Germany.
Okay.
Canada, 2.5 goal favorites over Czechia.
Yes, I'll be taking that.
I'll be taking that line.
I can't believe the line's so low.
It's minus 155, but like, what can I bet you I could throw something decent in the
I
mix
might
here.
juice it up. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Czechia, we've seen them already. We know what they are. Overrated.
That's fair. Give me a goal score for that Canada game?
McDavid.
Skating on your whole team, Connor McDavid.
Let's say Wilson gets another one.
I'm curious how long he's going to spend up on that top line.
Well, if he's beating up everyone, might get a Gudis Wilson fight. What did you make of the fight?
I didn't love it.
Okay.
Because it's the Olympics and I don't want the focus to be on that. But considering the context, it's understandable. It's not like Wilson just went out there being like, I'm going to fight someone.
No,
he kind of got dragged into it.
I don't think he went out to go find it. I think the situation just made it happen. I also think if this guy did not want to fight Wilson once he started fighting him. He just started ragdolling him. It's not fighting. Yeah. On the other side of it too, you see this guy go off the ice. No, he has a bit of history. I wonder how much he was running his mouth. And then McKinnon at the end of the game was like, yeah, he was apologetic, but like, I didn't even have the puck.
Yeah.
When he elbowed me in the head.
Like, it doesn't matter. If I walk up to you right now, slapped you in the head. And you were like, what the hell? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I loved it.
Still dumb.
I think it was good. I think that's hockey, baby.
That's hockey.
That's hockey. The good old game.
Finland, 1.5 goal favorite over Switzerland. I don't hate that, but that may be upset watch. Finland's been known to kind of shut their pants.
And I think with Fiala out, obviously that makes a big difference.
Yep.
Switzerland only beat Italy 3-0 today. Good tournament for Italy. I know they obviously went out the way that they did, but I think they went out respectfully. I think is a good way to put it. Mm-hmm. I don't mind Switzerland taking the Swiss on the spread.
Plus 1.5 goals?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is it?
Plus 1.5 is minus 160. That means the Finnish puck line's plus 135.
Damn. Yep.
All right. That's a wrap.
USA, whatever they play, right?
We don't have odds yet. I think they had the US, or you can bet on USA to lose in the quarterfinals at plus 175. So that kind of tells you what the line will likely be. They'll probably be like minus 200 favorites. But
fair enough.
There you go. Okay, that's a wrap on today's edition of the show. We'll review our prop bet thing tomorrow.
Was turned off. The Wi-Fi was.
Yeah, we haven't had Wi-Fi, so I haven't been able to see our monitor or anything like that for the back half of the show. But I think we're piecing it out.
Yeah, we're good. I got it back on. We're chilling now.
Oh, okay.
But
That's good. You didn't see I had $0 in my Bet365 account. They're all on futures.
You cashed out.
They're placed on futures.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to John Morris, Johnny Moe.
That was
what
great.
an absolute beauty. Beauty.
yeah, I was happy to have him.
Tomorrow.
But
Canada game will end. I will go on a special edition of The Sheet with Jeff Merrick for a quick hit.
okay.
And then on this show, I think we might have to do from home tomorrow just because I have to watch the game, do the post game. And
God forbid.
I mean, with the snow being what it is, we can make it work from home tomorrow, boys.
Okay, sounds
Might
good.
be a bit of an abbreviated version of the show tomorrow, but
That's fine.
again, we got a little bit of stuff to take care of. Liam's going to build his Canada versus the world rosters. And we'll break down what should hopefully... I mean, we're either breaking down a Canada quarterfinal win or, oh my God, we're having a show tomorrow.
Yeah. Or I'm not doing my Canada versus Europe roster.
Yeah, we're not exactly going to be doing that. But anyways, that's a wrap. Shout out to Johnny Moe, everybody on YouTube. Great stuff. We will see you all right back here tomorrow, noon Mountain Time. Oil up, maple up. What's up, Nation citizens? If you enjoyed today's episode of Oilers Nation Everyday, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube to not miss any of our content. We got you covered from interviews, insight, analysis, everything you need to stay up to date on everything around the team. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video.